Good morning everyone, it's Lance here, once again, best day ever MTB, and we're still in lockdown, which explains the hair getting ever longer. If you guys watched the COVID-19 World Series Enduro, which I must point out, I won that race, some of you guys were asking about the tracks, and I do have a few little tracks around the back of my house. I'll give you a quick tour of those. We'll start with a quick walk around because I've got to go and pick up all the fallen Nikau branches before I ride it, and then we'll see if we can do a couple of laps. Alright, let's go. Alright, so we're going to start at what I call the junction. If you saw the race, the COVID-19 World Series Enduro, don't know if I mentioned I won that, at Heckler's Corner, which was just here. You can go down that track, or you can go down, that's what I call my downhill track. Now I actually designed this track as a loop, mostly for the e-bike. So although I showed it in the race as two downhill tracks, or three downhill tracks, it's actually a loop with one downhill track. So modified it slightly for the COVID-19 World Series Enduro. Did I mention I won that? I might not have mentioned that. Alright, so we're going down the track here. As you can see, Nikaus everywhere. They drop continually. If you live in the bush, it starts freaks you out a bit. I'm wondering what all the noise is as these Nikau branches hit the ground. Alright, this is my first feature. I actually built this some years ago, but never really used it much. It's quite sketchy. You come up here, and then you've got to do a 90-degree turn onto sort of down there. Thread your way between the trees. It's better in the dry, which today it's of course soaking wet. We're in the Waitex, of course. So yeah, you come down there onto this bridge and down there. I'll see if I can walk down there. It's not easy. Right, I'm down. Okay, so then we come across this bit. I've tried to keep the track, whoop, I'm just about slipping over. Tried to keep the track as natural as possible. The good thing about this is when you don't use the track, within 6 months, the whole thing is reverted back to normal, and you can never even tell there was a track here, and that's kind of what I want, because I kind of like the native bush. Likewise, I've worked with the trees. I haven't cut down any trees to make this track. Obviously just want to keep it as natural as possible. But it's kind of tricky. This corner here doesn't look hard, but if you're trying to ride up it, as I say, it's actually quite a challenge to get around this corner up here. Initially I made it a bit more rugged, but I had to remove a few of the tree roots just so that I could actually keep going. Alright, then we come into, again, this is an uphill section, although it was downhill in the race in the COVID-19 World Series Enduro, which I won, not sure if I mentioned that. Alright, and then this bit's a real challenge. I had to modify this a little bit so that I could actually get up here, and I'm not sure if I better get up here today, but we'll give it a try. And again, lots of rooty gnarly goodness. I think we'll have to let some air pressure out before we start this. Just pick up the Nikau. Get out of the way. Up the hill. Another Nikau. Lots of these. Oh. Right. Still going. Alright, so this is along the sort of flat bit here, although it's fairly rooty and slippery. And then we come back to the junction. So we've basically done a full loop. So if you wanted to, you could just keep going round and round this loop. Whoop, nearly tripped over. On the e-bike, you can go down there and just do loops of that, and just practice your skills, get used to riding on slippery, rooty stuff. Or you can come on my downhill track, which, again, I've kind of left a lot of these roots here just to try and make it a bit more rugged. To be fair, it's a fairly slow speed track, and we'll be certainly taking it slow today. Alright, so come down here, still coming down the downhill track. It's not often you can walk a whole bike park in a few minutes, really. Whoops. And there's just say the typical, look at all these Nikaus here. Let's get rid of some of them. Alright, down here. Now I did initially have a wooden skinny feature at the end here, but it really was a bit sketchy, so I ended up taking it out for safety reasons, as we all need to stay safe at these times. couple of log features there. I've left those in again to make it a bit more interesting. And I even have a little bit of a rock garden here, some rocks to roll down over, and we're down onto my driveway. So that, everyone, is a tour of my bike park, or bike tracks, or little tracks around the back of the house, whatever you want to call them. I do have scope to put in more if we get locked down for a lot more and I decide I'm getting a bit bored. You can see that down my drive is quite a drop, goes down there, and all on the side of here is bush, and you can see it drops pretty steep. So you could certainly put in quite a downhill run. It would be a fair amount of work, but you know, I could do that, I guess, if we'll see how it goes anyway. All right, let's go and see if we can do a quick lap. All right, before we go for a ride, I have been taking this thing out on the road a bit, so the pressures are a bit high, so I'm going to let a bit of air out for the slippery roots. Just check this. I never believe these things. That says 14 psi, that's pretty much rock hard. So let's go for sort of soft kiwi fruit, shall we? Not very scientific, I know, but that's how I roll. All right, better do the... That's one downside of having a bike park here. But they always get those people with dogs who don't clean up after their dogs, and you end up riding on it. So I'm going to have to clean that out. I won't show that on the video because that's a bit gross. Alright, the track's pretty slippery today, so need some pretty good knobbly tyres. The downside to knobbly tyres, of course, is trying to get the dog poo out of them. Anyway, here is lap number 1 for you. Alright, that's not a very good start. Okay, that's pretty slippery, isn't it? We were going about 3 kilometres an hour and just did a slow dismount there. Alright, not a good start. Got over that bit. Whoa, around. Whoa. I didn't clean the neck out. Ah, done. Didn't quite get up there. It's actually quite technical. Oh, I'll have to walk it now. See our walk mode. Okay, so lap number 1, we fell off and couldn't get up the hill. So not a good start, but that's what I guess it's all about, is skills progression. All right, might do a run out on the downhill track. Now, I do apologise for all the huffing and puffing in this video. I think my lockdown training has consisted mostly of sitting on the couch, eating chips and cake, putting weight on and getting more unfit than I already was, if that's possible. Super tight in here. Woo, and we're down. That's a nice clean one. And then you just go back up to the house and do another lap. Okay, so this is attempt number 2 at getting a clean lap in. Ooh. Yeah! Damn it! Damn it! Our back wheel started to slip in there and I couldn't get going. All right. Alright, I'm determined to get a clean lap here. I'm not impressing anyone so far. Shows you that cross country is a lot harder than downhill. It's easier to go downhill than it is to go up. Anyway, we'll keep trying. Oh, okay, this could be a long day. Now, I realise we're not supposed to be doing anything that involves hurting ourselves. And so all these
slip-offs and lying on the ground is not a good look, and I appreciate that. But in my defence, they're all very slow speed, and we've got knee and elbow pads on, and yeah, the worst thing I'm injuring at this point is my ego.
That wasn't as planned. Yes, we're up. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I think I need, oh, maybe rotten kiwi fruit rather than soft kiwi fruit in the back. All right, take 4.
Now, like a lot of the videos I make, they don't follow the script that I initially had planned. I'm just going to ride around here, show you the tracks nice and safely, and show you how good a rider I was. Instead, all I've shown you is that I can't ride very good in the wet, slippery stuff, keep falling off and making an idiot of myself. But anyway, I was determined to get one clean lap in, just to show you that it can be done. Or I can do it anyway.
We made it clean. Well, I'm puffing so hard. But anyway, we made that clean. Oh, I almost feel dizzy. I might stop for a sec. Okay, so we managed to make it round in an anti-clockwise direction. When I designed this track, I thought it'd be cool to do it in both directions. You know, when you do a track in the opposite direction, it feels like riding a completely new track. The downside to this track is that you can't get back over the wooden log. If you try and hit it up at speed here, you just end up in there. I guess I could build a wooden ramp up there, but I've never got round to that. But anyway, we can ride a loop, just not over this log. So let's do that now, eh? All right, that bit is always really difficult to get over. And we'll come back to that.
I actually really enjoy riding the track in this direction. That steep, sort of slippery technical uphill becomes now quite a fun bit of downhill. It's actually quite a lot easier riding down something, especially when it's wet, than trying to ride back up it. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get round to putting a bridge over that log, but either way, it's good to have a little track in your back garden that you can practice your skills on.
As you can see, trying to ride up there would be no mean feat, eh? If you could get a run up at it and you could jump to the other side, but you got to take a 90-degree turn up there. It's never going to happen. Can't even walk up it. Whoa, geez, I can't walk up it. All right, let's come back to that. Okay, so nearly did a complete lap in the clockwise direction. There's one feature that is really hard to do. In the dry it's hard, in the wet, well, it's really hard. You have to come up this hill, which isn't too bad if you boost it with enough speed, but slippery roots, so you've got to keep your momentum up. You then sort of come up to here, and then you're faced with this off-camber big tree root. I could cut it out, but I kind of like the idea of having some difficult features on the track. So you then have to try and get over that, but then into an uphill corner, so it's not like you can boost it at speed. Okay, why don't we set the tripod up and see if we can clear this thing, eh? Well, I finally got over that tree root. You guys didn't think I was going to make it, did you? And I must admit I wasn't sure either. But anyway, managed to get around all the features on the track, clockwise, anti-clockwise, and the downhill track. Just a few tracks in the back of my house. It's quite good for the e-bike, just to practice a bit of technical slippery uphill bits. If you like the tracks and you think I should make some more, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed already, love it if you do. Just click on the logo, must be over here somewhere, and we'll see you on the next one.